Okay, our next section, our next nutrient that we're going to talk about is fats. We take in fats every day of our life, pretty much, if you want to be healthy. Our body uses fats, called lipids, for a source of energy. Fats contain twice as much energy as carbs and proteins. Yes?
So if fats contain more energy, why don't they load up on fats before marathons?
Because what do you think is healthier for you?
Carbs.
Exactly. Like, that's why we say we should get fats, but we shouldn't focus on fats. Like the food pyramid, that's why we need to follow the food pyramid, because that's what's showing what's good for us. Everything on there is good, other than sugars, of course, but if we follow that, we'll be good. Okay, fats. Foods that are high in fats include meats, milk, cheese, vegetable oil, and nuts. Fats can be intertwined with muscles or can lay fat on the surface. So have you guys ever gotten a steak or a piece of meat that just is marbled and just has tons of bits of fat in it?
Yes.
But have you ever gotten chicken like that?
No.
Exactly. Like red meat, usually fats with muscle. So like cows and stuff that have muscles will have the fat in the muscles, but like a chicken will have the fat lay flat on top of the meat, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay. Your body can synthesize most of the fatty acids it requires. Those that cannot are called essential fatty acids. We must obtain essential fatty acids from our diet. Yes.
What does it mean to synthesize?
Oh, good question, Devin. I like where you're going with this. To synthesize, in order to, we can't make it.
Okay.
That's the easiest answer. We can't make it, so we have to.
Take it in and then use it?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Okay. With different fats, there's saturated and unsaturated. But saturated are when carbons of a fatty acid are bound to as many hydrogens as possible, and unsaturated is when there are no carbon to carbon double bonds, so the fat is not saturated in hydrogens. So what do you guys think a stick of butter would be? Do you think it would be saturated or unsaturated?
Saturated?
Here, let me draw something on the board for you, and then I'll let you decide. Okay, so with saturated, it doesn't have double bonds in it. So it kind of goes like this. But with unsaturated, it has like this, but then it has these double bonds in it. So saturated, because it doesn't have these bonds in it, it could lay flat, right? Because obviously if you lay these together, it's going to not be flat. But if you lay these together, they'll be able to condense and flatten. So with that, which one do you think is saturated and unsaturated? Saturated would be this one? Or this one?
That
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, it's that one. So, what do you think a butter would be? Something that's solid compared to a liquid fat. What do you think butter, like a stick of butter would be? Would it be saturated or unsaturated?
I think saturated.
That is correct. It is saturated.
Sweet.
That's what I think.
So saturated because it doesn't have those double bonds, it could lay flat. So that's why when, like, say you cook bacon and the grease you get off, when it cools down, it gets in that like grease, the hard grease. It doesn't stay liquid because it doesn't have those double bonds, so it could clump up, right? And then like vegetable oil always stays in the liquid state because it's double bonded, so it can never lay down flat.
So
And
if vegetable oil didn't have the double bonds, it would look like the grease after bacon.
yeah, it just get all chunky and solid.
That's good.
Okay. Then we have polyunsaturated, and that's when it contains many unsaturated carbons. And then we have hydrogenation, and this is a step a lot of companies use to prolong like the shelf life of their product sometimes. But it's when you add hydrogen atoms to unsaturated fats by combining hydrogen gas with vegetable oil under pressure. So the best example of this would be margarine. So now you guys should know the difference between butter and margarine. So butter is saturated and margarine is unsaturated. But they put they make margarine by putting vegetable oil by adding hydrogens gas to it and putting it under pressure to not have it be double bond, so it could be able to lay flat like margarine. So like that's why margarine looks like butter, but it's different.
So would butter be more healthy for you? Because it'd be easier to digest? And because it's more natural?
No margin for him to be, isn't it?
I believe butter would be the best answer for that.
Okay.
Okay, with the next section of fats, we have trans fats. Trans fats are not required or beneficial to us. Many fast food, energy bars, fiber bars, and many foods contain trans fats. Trans fats can cause clogged arteries. Because our body is not used to these trans fats and can't break it down, it just kind of accumulates in our body. So if we're taking in tons of trans fats, and there's trans fats in everything almost nowadays, since our body can't break it down, that's why so many people have clogged arteries, because it just accumulates in it and just sticks, because our body can't really break it down. So if it doesn't leave us, it's just, if it doesn't leave us when we go to the bathroom, it just stays in our body. That's why a lot of overweight people, because they eat so many junk food and all that, they get all these trans fats, and that's why they get all these clogged arteries, because all these trans fats they're eating. But how many of you have gone to the store and it's like 0 trans fats on the bag, or cereal, or whatever you're getting? It's good. You should always get non-trans fats, because trans fats are not good for us. Okay, so we talked about macronutrients before. Those were the water, protein, fats, and carbs. And now we're going to talk about micronutrients. Micronutrients are nutrients that are essential, but only in small amounts. So I'm sure you guys already looked at the bottom part. But micronutrients include vitamins and minerals. So we don't need to take, of course, like a whole bunch of vitamin C or a whole bunch of oils or minerals or something. We need them, but we only need them in small amounts. We don't need a high dosage like we need macronutrients. Like we don't need the same amount of vitamins as we do carbs in our body, if that makes sense. So in the micronutrients, we have coenzymes. These help enzymes. Enzymes help speed up the process in our body. So when we take coenzymes, they speed up the chemical reactions, so they'll just help us. Like say, if you're getting sick or anything like that, they'll help your body function better, along with antioxidants. It'll help prevent diseases. Like there's tons of drinks and tons of foods that have antioxidants, and there's tons of fruits that do too.
So we should get this stuff for Jason.
Yes. Okay. Pause it.